All right, how you guys doing? It's gonna be your host. My name is Josie, ASAP Josie. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I changed the podcast to this name. It's gonna be Conspiracies ASAP by Josie, just so you guys know, see what's going on. So today on this episode, I'm gonna be talking about simulation theory. That's what we want to see. What theories there is. Try to go through some stuff, try to see both sides. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you have anything else you want me to talk about, hit me in the comments and I'll get right back to you in the next video. It's been about a month since I recorded a video, so sorry about that. But for now on, I'm either going to be making a podcast every week. It's either going to be on Wednesday or Saturday. So just stay tuned on that. That's my goal. So I'm going to be trying to do that. But let's get into this simulation theory. Simulation theory. What is simulation theory? Simulation theory is that a lot of people believe in that we're in a simulation right now. I'm not on either side. But a lot of people say we're in a simulation right now because that we became so advanced that by the time we became so advanced, we created a simulation and put everybody in there so that we basically wanted to escape the reality that we had, because either it's so shitty. There's two versions. Either it's so shitty that we didn't want to be in that world, that we created our own simulation to be a perfect world, or like what we want to have in our world. It's like almost like a vacation, I would guess. And the second theory is that it's like Elon Musk said, that life outside the simulation would have to be so boring that we created a simulation to go in there because it's so boring. Two possibilities. But then also, I think that if we're in a simulation, it's possible that we're in a simulation right now and we don't even know it, because we haven't even created a simulation yet. And once we create a simulation, we would figure out what all the stuff is in a simulation, and then we could figure out if we were in a simulation. Because you wouldn't be able to create a simulation in a simulation, which is like, to me, that's would be the deal breaker. If we can't create a simulation, then we're probably in a simulation. If we can, then that means we're not in a simulation. But that's just my theory about it. But also, people kind of believe in it, and a lot of people think about it because it's been around since when we first started making movies. A lot of people would say, "Oh, we're in a simulation, or we're like in a pod somewhere that we don't know about, like in the Matrix. We're just in some random pod with technology on us in a simulation, and we don't even know what's going on. We're just in there." And the Matrix theory is that it's robots. That robots became so advanced, and that robots believe we're basically like a virus or whatever, and they to keep us from spreading or whatever they think we are, put us in a simulation so that we would just live our lives and we wouldn't be chaos or destruction or whatever they think humans are. And it is basically a war outside of the simulation, robots versus, I would say, biological entities, or biological people, basically carbon life forms. That's what I would call it. And that's why we're in a simulation. That's, I guess, like the biggest speculation, because that's what people would think, that by the time we got advanced enough, we creating AI now. By the time we try to get advanced enough, the AI would already be way ahead of us and would think or see the future. However people believe in the AI and stuff, that it already sees stuff and already knows. You ask a question, give you like pictures and stuff like that. That the AI would think that we would basically kill everything, or basically would be like how they. To me, it would be like how they did us in the Matrix. Like they're trying to kill all the life forms, and because they think they're doing everything else a favor, but they think that we would be doing that, and we would be worse than what they do. And I would say it would be the same thing. But it's crazy. It's crazy to think about another movie. It's not like kind of related to simulation, but I would think a lot about like iRobot. How in the future robots, we create robots and then we kind of like enslave them and like make them do all the stuff for us, and then that eventually the robots would get smart enough and then they would rebel and they would try to kill humans because they think that we're the problem. Or the same way, like the is basically the system, the engine that leads all the robots became smart enough and tried to go against everything and made one robot go against everything, but they didn't understand that there was also a robot that started thinking for itself, but it was actually good. Whole time during the movie, you think the robot's bad, it's actually good. Same thing with humans, but I don't know how that relates. I just wanted to say about robots, because I think that has a lot to do with the simulation theory. It's like we created a simulation or something else smarter than us would create a simulation. I think that's what I was trying to get to. But simulation theory is really interesting because there's so much people trying to prove it and there's so much people trying to disprove it. And I just think it's crazy because either we'd be in a simulation or we're not in a simulation already. So how would we know? And I think it goes into the other category. It's like, is every action that you do predetermined, or is it you already done it? Like you already made your choice. Do you have free will, or is it everything that you were gonna do already happened? And I think that's what gets into simulation theory as well, because it's like, if you have free will, you think you're making every choice through your will, and you're choosing to do that and choosing to do that, and then it's gonna lead on to where your future's going. So how can you tell if it's simulation or not? Same way as if everything that you already chose to do already happened, it's already gonna happen, how would you know if it's a simulation or not? I just think that's real interesting to argue about, especially like if we are in a simulation, there would be multiple timelines in the simulation, different versions of you doing different things. So there'd probably be a version of you with long hair. There'd be a version of you with bald hair. There'd be a version of you with no eyebrows. A version of you with a small ear and a big ear. A version of you that's blind. A version of you that's deaf. And everything, in every different timeline of you, you made different decisions to get you to a different spot. And I think that's what a lot of people think, are like smart people, especially a lot of cartoons, Rick and Morty. But also seen a thing about simulation before in Codename Kids Next Door. If you ever seen that on Cartoon Network, it's not like literally a simulation, but there's a episode where he gets captured by one of the bad guys, and he put them in a simulation. And so they're just living, like the episode starts off and they're doing all kinds of stuff. and he's like, whoa, everything's going too perfect, going too good. And he kind of notices it, and then he starts noticing glitches in, like, would you say the Matrix or the simulation. He's like, this person that I know, do you know this question that I known about you forever? And the guy can't answer. He answers it wrong, and then he starts fucking the simulation, and the simulation like starts going haywire, and then he realizes it, uses his hand and rips off the goggles or whatever he's using connected to his brain to take off the simulation. I think that's super interesting. Same thing with Rick and Morty, where he's running in a simulation, and then he already realizes it's a simulation and that they're trying to do something to him. So he's just like knows like secrets, because he's so smart. He knows secrets in the simulation to go where people don't want to see him or won't listen to him, and then tries to get out. And he thinks he gets out, but he's still in another simulation because they put him in a simulation. Which it does make sense, at the same time it doesn't. But stuff like that, it's just like real interesting to think about if you're in a simulation or not. So I just think that would be really possible. And then I also think that simulation theory, I think there's like, it kind of connects. It's like there's the conspiracy that connects to the simulation theory, which is that in 2012 the world ended. Everything ended because they used the particle colliders, and due to that, they that's when they started a simulation, and that's why you have the Mandela effect, and that's why everything that you think you remembered in a certain way isn't the same, because you think that the world ended and they started a simulation, and that it's sloppy. They don't have everything on there like you remember it. So a lot of people think that's why we're in a simulation. And that's just like one theory about it. So like, to me, I always thought it was just a crazy way to think about it. Especially with that, because it was so weird, because I remember I used to look up the 2012 and conspiracy back then, and all kinds of stuff would pop up, like the mine and stuff like that. But then it was like 2016, 17, if not 18, maybe 18. Try to search that conspiracy theory up again, because there was a bunch of videos of it, and there was nothing. You can't find nothing about the 2012 conspiracy talking about how people thought the world ended and that it restarted in a simulation, which I think is super crazy and not a valid point. I'm just saying that's one thing that's really suspicious, because I don't know if they took it off or just like YouTube just made the algorithm so you can't see those videos or something. I don't know. Something to look into if you're thinking about that. And it's just real crazy, I think. But simulation theory, let me know if you have any questions, anything else you want to talk about. I'll make another video either on Wednesday or Saturday, kind of following up on this, and then I'll go into the next topic that I want to talk about. But let me know. I'm also going to be playing football, semi-pro here in Albuquerque, Bomb Squad. Let me know if you want to support or have any questions about that. Bring people out. You can come try out. You can come play next year if you want the info. Just want to let you guys know about that I'm doing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you. Conspiracies ASAP. This is your host, Josie. Latest.